Hey everyone, in this video, we're going to talk about Jira Service Management or JSM. And before we get into that, first I want to apologize for the lighting. My overhead light is actually on its way out and just started flickering right as I was about to hit record. Um, so we get super weird lighting. I've got the lights on my face from either side, um, but I can see that I'm a little washed out, and I apologize for that. I'll get that fixed up quickly. Also, this video is part of a series. This is the, I don't know, fifth or sixth, no, fourth probably video in this series. And you can get to the playlist of all of the videos down in the description below. You'll also find a link to a companion report that we're putting together. That's actually, these videos are not the main thing that we're doing. It's actually a report that we're doing where we're comparing all 13 ITSM vendors that exhibited at Service Management World 2024 to Cherwell. That's an interesting comparison, and we know that none of them really stack up against Cherwell. There is no ITSM platform exactly like Cherwell. But with Cherwell going away, that means there are many, many folks like yourself moving from Cherwell to some other platform. And we're trying to showcase how each one of these platforms might be a good fit for you, from the perspective of being a current Cherwell user. So again, in today's video, we're talking about Jira Service Management. Um, and I'm going to show a little bit of a demo of Jira Service Management, highlighting some of the things that I think are most relevant to uh, people coming from Cherwell. Now, I should caveat that Jira Service Management is an Atlassian product. Being a software engineer and having been a software engineer for many, many years, I have used plenty of Atlassian products. Uh, I've used Trello. I used Trello before it was an Atlassian product, back when it was its own company. I've used Jira Software, I think is what they called it. Um, I don't know that I've used Jira Server, the on-prem version of Jira Software, um, but I've used Bitbucket. I've used Confluence. I've used a lot of Atlassian products. I have lots of opinions about how they work well, how they don't work so well. But in this video, I'm going to try to leave all of that at the door and come at Jira Service Management from as fresh a perspective as I possibly can, um, because I don't want this video to be a Jira Software versus JSM video. I want this to be a JSM as compared to the Cherwell experience uh, video. So let's talk about Jira Service Management. So here's their website. It's atlassian.com/software/Jira/service management. Um, but if you Google Jira Service Management, it'll show up. Atlassian's SEO game is top notch. You'll find it. Uh, they have a free trial. Actually, they have a completely free tier. So far, they're the only ones I've found that have an always free tier. Everybody else so far has been a 30-day trial. I came across one company that has a 45-day trial, another one that has a 14-day trial. Um, 1 month is about the norm, but Jira Service Management, it's forever free within certain limits. So most companies are going to need to pay for Jira Service Management because you'll quickly go beyond the free limits. But for what I'm doing, I'm not even going to get close. Um, so I clicked this get it free button and got a free instance. So and you can see I've played around with it a little bit, but some things that I want to highlight are kind of the end-to-end workflow. I think that's going to be the well, not even the full end-to-end workflow, just the different pieces that play into that, starting from the portal side all the way to um, actually working a ticket and seeing it and being able to configure the experience there. So if you're familiar with Jira software, you'll notice similarities with Jira Service Management. Um, and that's When I first heard of Jira Service Management and kind of saw screenshots of it, it felt like it was just Jira software with this thin layer of, service management terminology layered on top. And to a certain extent, that's true, but it's actually a thicker layer than I initially thought. There's actually some additional functionality that is built into Jira Service Management that you don't get from Jira software because Jira software doesn't really work that way. So we'll start with the portal. And realistically, JSM's portal is really just a service catalog. Um, there isn't much customization beyond it. It does have a customize button here, but from what I've seen, the level of customization is, I think, basically colors and wording and that sort of thing. But the portal itself is basically just the service catalog. There are other companies that provide like a full portal for JSM. That if JSM fits the bill on all of the other fronts, those other companies might be worth a look. But inside the service catalog, you basically get groups of different types of requests, I believe, is how they describe it. Um, and each request type can live inside multiple groups. So I think, yeah, you can see Get IT Help is actually in both common requests and computers. And the way that's customized is uh, we go over to the projects and go to project settings, which, sorry, that might be off the end of the screen for you all. We go to request types, I believe. And we see all of the different request types. Yeah. So then we can see in Get IT Help, the portal groups, it says used in two groups. And we can see, where is that? I found it a few minutes ago. That might actually be somewhere else. Is it in issue types? No, it's not in issue types. So issue types is actually a Jira software thing, right? Issue types, you still have that in Jira software because you have things like bug, story, that sort of thing. Here you have incident, service request with approvals. And what that gives you is you have different workflows. So workflows here are basically the sets of states that they go through. This is also something that you have in Jira software. Where is it? Okay, so here we go. Channels and self-service portal, I believe, is where we'll find that. Yeah, here we go. Portal groups. So common requests, computers, and if I expand that, now I can see the different request types, their different request forms. And the request forms come from forms. And this is how uh, you can customize the kind of the intake form. So this is forms in JSM are more or less equivalent to specifics in Cherwell. So you can see here, IT support request. This is something that I created today, uh, November 30th, uh, just as a way to test things out. Uh, so I actually created this from a template. There's a good library of templates that for a bunch of different things, IT stuff, access, admin support, legal, HR, finance. JSM is a full enterprise service management tool. Um, and you can create multiple portals, one for HR, one for IT. The way that works is you would actually create a separate project. So it, because this is a layer on top of Jira software, just like you can create a project in Jira software, you create a project in JSM, and it's actually a specific type of project. It's a service management project. Uh, so that's how you would create a separate area for HR, IT, and facilities and so on. All right. So anyway, we have this form, which I built from a template, which is basically a specifics form. So where does that actually show up? Well, I added it to, I think, yeah, on settings, I was able to set which request types use this form. So let's look at one of these requests, like get IT help, and then we'll look at one that doesn't use it, like onboard new employees. If we go back to the portal, get IT help has the typical stuff, raise this request on behalf of, a summary and description and attachments, and then it immediately goes into the custom form. And if you look closely, you can actually see that there's a slight stylistic difference between these two sections. I can see that because I know what I'm looking for. Um, but it looks pretty seamless, other than really like we're really splitting hairs at this point. Uh, and this is how you could ask follow-up questions. So if you're specifically uh, providing help, get IT help, get assistance, you can ask for like reproduction steps and what are you actually running into? What product are you using? What browser are you using? That sort of thing. So you're not dealing with the, you know, general summary and general description like help, it's not working. What's not working? Where are you? That sort of thing. You can actually ask for that sort of information. Now, on the other hand, let's just go back. It'll be easier that way. Let's say onboard new employees, I think was one that didn't use that. Now, onboard new employees, it just has the standard stuff. Actually, it does have a custom field um, that's dropped in there as well. Uh, just like in Jira Service Management, or in Jira Service Management, just like in Jira Software, you can. Yes, I don't care. We can lose those changes. Go back into settings. Where is that? Fields. So this is something that you have in Jira Software as well. Custom fields uh, go onto different screens, have to do with different issue types. Um, these are custom fields, separate from forms. These are like custom fields on the incident table in Cherwell. Let's see, what else can we show? So let's say someone sends in an incident. We get to see all of that on, if we go back to the project, we get to see this on basically a list, basically just like in Jira Software. Uh, it's just a list of incidents. I think there's also a way to view it as a Kanban board, though I don't have that set up right now. Uh, but if you drill into either one of these, let's just drill into this one. We get to see the form, the basically the specifics form, and we see all the things you'd expect from a Jira ticket, a Jira issue. You see the description and you see the comments. Now, one thing that's different in comments uh, is that you do have the distinction between internal note and replying to a customer. That's something you had in Cherwell. That's not something you have in Jira software. But other than that, if you're familiar with Jira, like Jira software, history, work log, approvals, all of this looks, well, I guess not approvals, but the other stuff will look familiar to you. This sidebar with a bunch of different information has all the same stuff as well. You can even add additional forms that didn't come through from the portal. But let's also look at, I think, this other one. Uh, yeah, I raised this request via email. So well, I think I might have raised both of them through email. But Jira does have an email monitoring capability. If we look at project settings and we go to channels and self-service email, we can see Jira supports two different ways to monitor email. One is they do create basically a listener email address on their infrastructure. So if you send email to support@synapsoftware.atlassian.net, in the case of my demo instance, which please don't send email to that. I'm not monitoring this. I'm never going to see it. This is just a demo instance for this video and the report. But any email coming into that address will create a request, will create an incident. Alternately, or alternatively, I suppose, you can add an external email, basically email monitor. Google, Microsoft, or other is what I set up. And you have, what is this? 6 different options, and that's it. So this isn't nearly as full featured as Cherwell's monitoring capability. It's basically just create a connection to a mailbox, and any email that's received by that mailbox will automatically create a new incident. The title will be the subject, and the description will be the body, just like many, many different ITSM platforms. Nothing terribly sophisticated, uh, which was actually kind of disappointing because I know Jira Software has a really good email capability. I know some people who basically interact with Jira software almost exclusively via email. They get an email about a comment on a ticket, and they respond to that email, and it creates a comment on that same ticket for whoever commented to see. It works phenomenally well. What I did set this up, and it works. It creates tickets. I also sent an email to support at and the Atlassian address, and I think that was the second, this test two, I think is the one I created that way. Yeah, via email. And then I responded. And you can see an hour ago, I responded. I did a reply to customer. Oh, you can't see that. It's off the edge of the screen. I wish I could scroll up. Um, but I responded. I promise I responded. I still haven't gotten the email for that yet. Um, this is using the Jira functionality. So it should actually send an email from Atlassian's infrastructure to my email address. I should get that email and I should be able to respond to it. That's what I was hoping to be able to show in this video. Um, but there must be some delay somewhere in the system. So I wasn't able to do that. So I'm a little disappointed in that capability. Um, but everything else, it's there. You can customize forms, you can customize uh, fields. You can customize your process. You can certainly set up different workflows. That's a thing that's, it's Jira, it's Jira software, it's JSM, it's all the same stuff. So you can create custom workflows. You can create automations as well. I'll briefly show that. Uh, I will say the navigation between the project and the administration is clunky, but I mean, it's no different from Jira software. But if we go into automation here, you can actually see it loads. I just threw together a quick, they call it rule, um, transition when commented. So there's a trigger, there's a filter. They call this a condition. Yeah, condition. So only when the ticket is in particular statuses, and then do a thing. Set the status to in progress and assign the ticket to the user who triggered the event. I can also do 4H's, similar to Cherwell's step through children, step through collection, that sort of thing. Other conditions, um, or other actions. Now, this is interesting. This is definitely uh, larger. This toolbox area is much larger than Cherwell's uh, collection of actions you could do from one steps. Uh, but it looks like a lot of them are kind of custom integrations, similar to what Avanti is doing with their Workato integration. It's basically you can integrate with a lot of other tools, but the functionality that you get is very specific. It's do a specific thing. And if that's what you want, that's great. But if it's something else, you're probably going to be in the custom realm. Like create doc in Google Drive. Let's see what this does. Well, I have to connect to Google Drive. That makes sense. But I'm guessing it's literally just create a Google Doc in Google Drive, not find an existing Google Doc and add to it or modify it or anything like that. It is literally create a doc in Google Drive. Again, that's just my guess. That's speculation on my part. Let's get rid of that. Um, but there are lots of different actions that you can do. Teams messages, Twilio notifications, create incident. You can do things in Jira Software, create sprint, release version, uh, that sort of thing. You can do variable type things, create a variable, create a lookup table. Um, there's actually a lot of functionality here. Uh, it's not exactly the same canvas as you would expect from a one step, uh, but it looks pretty capable and pretty full featured. Um, so that's pretty cool. It gets high marks on the automation front. Given the amount of time we've talked about JSM, I'm actually going to end the video here. If you're interested in more stuff about JSM, I know a lot of people who are working with JSM, and I could certainly put you in touch with those folks. If you have a question, leave it down below in the description. If I can't answer it, I will get it to one of those people who is more familiar with JSM, and we'll get you the information you're looking at or you're looking for. Uh, Again, if you want a copy of the full report, go put your name on the list. There's a link down in the description below, and I'll send that to you when it's ready. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next one. If you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Like the video if you liked the deep dive that I went into. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.